Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. We're past the 1 week point in the challenge, and I wanted to give you a little bit more education about your food in case you're ready to refine it a little bit, fine tune things a little bit, or to try to tweak it to find what really, really works well for you. And if this feels like exploding your brain, then you just leave it for now, and maybe you'll come back to it later. The point is not to overwhelm you. So if what you're doing right now is working for you, that is cool. But if you're ready to learn something new, try something new, here's something that I want you to try. It's called PFC eating: protein, fat, and carbs. And so the deal with this is that every time you eat, whether it's a meal or a snack, you always have protein, fat, and carbs. And so this is why. Protein, basically, it increases your metabolism, it helps stabilize your blood sugar, and it helps to really keep you satiated. So if you feel like you ate a meal and you're like hungry all the time, why do you need to snack so often? Try adding more protein to keep you satisfied longer. And then the fats, they really buffer the carbs that you're eating and slows down the entry of the sugar from the carbs into your bloodstream. And also every cell in your body really needs fat. Over the past 20, 30 years, fat has been really demonized in the United States and many other places in the world. And so we started seeing an insurgence of products labeled low fat, no fat, like this was a good thing. But the problem is they took the fat out and spiked the sugar way up. And sugar is really the bad guy, not the fat. So if you see a claim of low fat, no fat on something, consider it a big red flag and look harder at what the packaging says. And no matter what you're buying, always look at the sugar content, and you'll start seeing how it's pretty high. Sometimes it can be a little tricky because it's not actually sugar in there. It's like a fake sugar, or even in sugar alternative, it's not necessarily so bad. Erythritol, xylitol, things like that are some healthier alternatives, but you still don't want to be eating a lot of that. Even stevia, you've probably heard of that, but some people, that can be really irritating to their stomachs. And in general, there's just no nutritional value of sugars. So you just want to read a label. And so you might be like looking at something and being like, oh, sugar, 2 grams, that's good. But actually read the ingredients and see what's on there and make sure that you know what it is. Because sometimes it can be no sugar like cane sugar, but there's a bunch of artificial sugars in there, and those are basically poison. So you want to stay away from those at all costs. And then for your carbohydrates, this is your fruits and vegetables. This is not your breads. I mean, it could be your bread, your rice, pasta, but those are not your healthiest sources of carbs. So when you're looking at PFC, I want you to think of vegetables and fruits. Obviously, they're not all the same. There's starchy and non-starchy. And when you think of your fruits, there's high sugar and low sugar. Your lowest sugar options for fruits are berries. But it's not that things that are higher in sugar, like bananas, are bad for you. I think just sometimes you need to be careful, because some people make smoothies and, loving them, but that's like, a whole banana and a handful of blueberries, a handful of strawberries, and a little bit of spinach. And if it's just like a ton of fruit, even though it's natural sugar, that is just too much for your body all at once. So just be careful about that. But your starchy vegetables are like your sweet potatoes, corn, peas, squashes, things like that. They have a greater effect on your blood sugar than non-starchy vegetables like, broccoli, something like that. So if you don't want to worry about, that level of detail, I would just say eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables. Vary it up. Some people, buy the same 5 pieces of produce every week and you're just eating them all the time. Try to mix it up a little bit, get different colors, get some variety. And if you do have thyroid issues, for example, I've seen many people do really well on half a sweet potato a day. Or if you, exercise a lot and you just need a little more, try half a sweet potato. Sweet potatoes, just because of the potato family, don't have to be demonized either. They're a better option than a white potato. But, white potatoes have their value too. I think we just tend to overdo them and cook them in unhealthy ways, i.e. French fries and potato chips. But just try to get a variety and stay mindful and use your journal and see what works for you and be like, I really felt good. What did I eat today? And just try to, if you're writing things down, you're writing down what you're eating and how you're feeling, you might be able to make some connections without a lot of work. And as far as the protein goes, I do encourage you to really be careful about any meat substitution type products. Like the tofu based kind of things. The carbs tend to outweigh the protein in those sort of products, and they can be full of processed soy, which you want to avoid. So be careful about that. If you need an easy way to get in more protein without eating big hunks of meat, you can look at collagen powder. You can get in a couple different forms, but it's really easy to add it to yogurt, smoothies, soups. You can even throw in a little stir fry. There's a type you can just add to water, and as long as you don't add too much, it just dissolves right into the water. You can't even taste it or see it or anything. So collagen powder could be a really good option. As far as protein powders go, I think you just have to be really careful because there's not that many clean versions of them out there. The ones that tend to taste the best are the ones that typically do not have a clean label. So I can share again, there's an article by Healthy Jasmine about how to choose a protein powder. It's a few years old, so the product listing might potentially be slightly outdated, but the lessons and how to choose a protein powder remain valid. And also just know that those type of products can be very hard on your body to digest if it's like an extremely high amount of protein at once. And so that's another reason I don't love them for daily use. And also, I just feel like we're meant to eat our food, to chew it up and eat real food. And protein powders are processed. So that's just my personal take on it. But certainly if you're doing protein powders, just be really mindful about what you're picking. Look at the label, look at the sugar, read up and make some wise decisions. There's also different types, if it's whey or pea or what sort of protein it is, you can play with different things, but I wouldn't rely on it too heavily. It's really not something that I would consume daily for long term. So for fats, olive oil, coconut oil, cheese, butter, olives, nut butter, seeds, that kind of a thing. If you're doing dairy, and know that a lot of people struggle with dairy, it's really, really common. And it can be not so obvious that you have a problem with it. Like it could be that you have eczema or headaches or acne, like something that doesn't mean that your stomach gets upset right away when you eat it. So just know that it's common to have a problem with dairy, but if you are doing dairy, do full fat. Don't get the skim milk. You get whole milk, butter from grass-fed cows. The quality really, really matters a ton when it comes to animal products, either their meat or their milk or anything made from their milk. Quality is really, really super important because they pump those animals up with antibiotics and hormones, and you don't need all that stuff in your body. Okay, so back to PFC. If you're choosing a meal or a snack, choose a protein, choose a fat, and choose a carb. If you are super on the go, I would say the most important it's not to eat a protein alone, like pair it with a carb. So if you're going to grab a stick of beef jerky, also grab an apple, for example. It'd be great if you could throw some nut butter in there to get the fats, but if you can't, don't eat the protein alone, I would say is the priority. So that could be like a hard-boiled egg and some carrots dipped in guacamole. There's endless combinations. If you need suggestions or help, just tag me and let me know. But, fruit or vegetable, some kind of healthy fat, and then your source of protein. And if you're doing that for a meal, a little simpler, it's maybe it's some grass-fed meat and some vegetables cooked in olive oil or coconut oil. It can be really that simple. And this is not something that should stress you out. So if you feel like this is overwhelming or stressful, I would say ditch it for now. But for a lot of you, this could be the game changer in really finding what makes you feel really good and keeps you satiated, keeps those cravings away. So I really wanted to make sure that you were educated on this way of eating, because I think it could really make a huge difference. So if you are going to try out PFC eating, let us know in the comments, and especially if you wanted to take a picture of your meal or snack, that would be awesome too, and we can share some ideas.